Okay. So I'm going to show you, I've showed you some tricks today in class, but I'm going to show you some others, and I'm going to refresh you on a few that you've already known how to do. Okay, so one of the things that is very helpful that you need to know how to do is the getting the equation, the linear regression, or even the quadratic regression if needed to find the quadratic formula for something, or the quadratic equation. But being able to put your data in to get the information out is very important. So the first thing I want to start off doing is doing a table. So go here and click and pull up a spreadsheet or a table here. Okay, it's blank right now.
Right now. Are we opening a table?
Yes, open a table up.
Yeah, right there.
So this right here is a STAAR question that was on that mock STAAR that we did. Okay, so this is the data. I'm going to put it in because I can't make both of them fit on this screen for you to be able to see. So as I type them in, you type them in. But right here, I'm going to put visits for my X. Okay, and I'm going to put clicks for the Y to name my thing. So we're talking about visits. Okay, and clicks. And so I'm going to put all of these numbers. And somebody can read them out loud if they want to. Okay. So there's the numbers. Okay. There's all the data. Okay. So we've got the question says, I'm just waiting for everybody to get the first. Does everybody have the first like 3 numbers so I can scroll down? Okay. Yeah. Okay. So let's see. Can y'all see that if I do it like that? So you can see all the numbers? No, not really.
Did I say 53 on the clicks? Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So the question says a company advertises on a website. A worker tracks the number of visits to the website and the number of clicks on the advertisement. The table shows the data for several days. A linear function can be used to model the data. Okay? It tells us what kind of linear or what kind of line that we're looking for. If it says a quadratic function or an exponential function can be used, then that's the kind of regression that we would want to use. So do y'all have all your data in there? Okay. So we're going to go menu and statistics. It's the very first option, stat calculations. Let me go back, menu statistics. Okay, so you're looking for statistics and then stat calculations. And on the brain dump that I've put back here for you guys, those steps are included on there. The other ones that I'm about going to show you are not. So if you want a refresher, now remember you can't have that during the STAAR test, but if you want a refresher to look at it before the STAAR test tomorrow morning, I've put them back there for you.
It just hit me that the STAAR test is tomorrow.
Yep, it's tomorrow. Okay, so stat calculations. Okay, which one of these linear, because that's what word it used in the thing, is the format that we prefer? Mx plus b. So that's the one I'm going to click on. Okay, if it were asking you for a quadratic, then you would use this one, the quadratic, right? Exponential would be this one down here. It gives you the information to make your equation if you have at least some data points to do that. So linear regression, we're going to click on that. Okay. What did I label my X list? Do you guys remember?
Wasn't it visits?
Visits. So I'm going to click and select that. What did I label my Y list? Clicks. Okay. I'm going to leave everything else the same. I'm not going to change anything else. I just needed to tell it what my X and my Y was. Okay. Does anybody need me to go back? Is everybody following along to that point? Okay, now we're going to click OK. Okay. One thing I forgot to tell you, if you didn't move your little box over where it's not on numbers, you probably got a message pop up and say it's going to go over your data or something. So you needed to click off of your data over here, and I forgot to mention that.
I didn't want to try to do it a few weeks ago.
So, and that's what happens when you don't put it, like, that's why the guy in the video that I had y'all do does it on the calculator screen, because it's all nice and pretty, you know, and it doesn't mess up on the data sheet. But I like to just do it right there on my thing.
Visit and clicks.
Put next. Nothing. Everything else stays the same.
Oh, then just put
You just have to tell it what your X and your Y is. Yep. Okay. If it pops up and tells you that it's going to go over your data or something, then on that list, so let's see, menu, statistics, you can tell it right here in this that you want the result to be in whatever column. So if you didn't move your thing over, then you can tell it that you want it to be in column D or whatever. Just don't use A and B, because those are the columns that you have your data in. Okay, so you can use C, D, E, and it will move your data over, so it won't be move this information, your statistics information, over, so it doesn't copy over your data. Okay, so the things that I'm looking for, this tells me what the format is of this information. M is my slope, so here's my slope right here. Okay, and B is my y-intercept, so it's right here. So now that I have my equation, so I have my equation, for my problem. So here's my problem that I'm working on. And my equation is 0.05 x plus 5.54, because I'm going to round it. Okay, always use at least 2 decimal places. Okay. The question then goes on to ask you, okay, it says, based on the table, what is the best prediction of the number of clicks for 1,500 people? That means I'm going to place 1,500 in right here for my X and solve. So 0.05 times, okay, now you have to go to a calculator page to do that on your calculator, right? So we've got
Point what?
0.05 times the 1500 plus the 5.54. Okay, 80.54. So of these numbers here, which one of these is closest to 80.54? 83. Okay. Or 77. Okay. So it doesn't tell us where to round to. So what I'm going to go back and do is so I would pick 83, but because it's closer. I was going to say it doesn't tell us where to round to, so maybe it's rounding, but you can't really round 0.05 any lower. Like you can't use one decimal point in it. So, yeah. So H would be the answer for this one.
Question?
Yes, sir.
What are we going to do after the STAAR test?
After the STAAR test, well, is your color wars and your wards assembly and all of that other stuff. We've got the Renaissance test that we still have to take as your final growth measure for the year. So those are all, we're pretty much done. I've got people out for biology. I've got people that need to make up a test that they missed a couple weeks ago because I was gone. So be makeup stuff mostly. And then we really only have like 2 days of class after the test. Every other day is taken up with stuff that's school-wise. Okay. Okay. Okay, so the next thing, okay, this also works, guys, if you need to know what the rate of change is. If you need to know what the rate of change is or the slope between 2 points, well, then instead of having all of this data, you would just have 1 coordinate and 2 coordinates, and you could do the same thing, and it will tell you what your equation would be. It'll give you your y-intercept. It'll give you your slope. Okay? So now, go to a calculator page now. So go back to home and a calculator page or your scratch paper. Okay. And now we're going to, I'm going to show you how to use that numerical solve again. Oops, wrong one.
Is that the thing that we learned today for the numerical solve?
One of them. That's one of the ones that we did in class today. But I'm going to give you a different problem to use. Can you close that one? No, I had one picked out and I think I closed it. Okay. So this problem, this is way bigger of a problem than what I had showed you in class, right? To solve for. Okay. One method that you can do is just take all these numbers and plug them in, right, to your X and see which one it is. But it's a lot easier to do that numerical solve if you know how. Okay. So I'm going to go down. So menu. Okay. Menu. We're going to go to Algebra. Numerical solve. Now I'm going to type in that equation that's right here. So -5. Okay. Make sure you use the negative. So -5 x minus parentheses -7 minus 4x, close parentheses. Where's my equal sign?
Under the orange button.
Under your orange button, under the blue button, whatever, under the control button, depending on which color calculator you have, right? Okay, then I've got -2 parentheses again, 3x minus 4, close parentheses. Now, if you hit enter, it's going to give you an error because it's going to tell you what? Okay, you didn't tell it what it was solving for. What does it need to solve for? What letter is it needing to solve for? X. So we have to put comma X. Hit enter. So what is my answer going to be? 0.2. Okay. Is 0.2 an answer here? No. But I've got two fractions. Do you know what 1/3 is as a fraction? 0.33333, right? So is that going to be it?
No.
No. So if you know what that one is, then that means it's probably this one, right? If you don't know how to get a fraction to a decimal on your calculator, okay, so 1, if you typed in on your calculator 1 divided by 5, it gives you this fraction, right? The easiest way to do this is do 1 decimal point divided by 5. If you put a decimal point in it, it will give you a decimal point. Okay? It will give you a decimal point as your answer if that you need it as a decimal point. That's the easiest way to get it to be a decimal point instead of a fraction. There's another way to do it, but that's easiest. That's the fastest way. Okay? So that's one way. So which answer would you choose in the problem? 1/5. Okay. Okay. So now, system of equations was the other one I wanted to let you have a practice on. Okay. So here's our system of equations that we want to solve. I'm going to put it down at the bottom again so I can see it. Okay. Now, where do we go to get to this system of equations solve thing again? Menu. Okay. Then where? Algebra. 2. This solve system of equations. Then I ask you, how many equations do I have? Well, how many equations are there? 2. What are the variables in my equations? X and Y. Okay. So now I'm just going to type in this top equation, just like it is there. X equals 2y minus 4 on top, and on bottom, I'm going to type 7x plus 5y equals negative 66. It already tells it what to solve for here. Okay, it's already telling it to solve for x and y there. So now you just have to hit enter. So did it give you those same two numbers that I got? This says, what is the x value of the solution? So which one of those is going to be the x value? Negative 8. Okay, so there's your answer right there, negative 8. So is that easier than you thought it would be, right? I mean, so the calculator does help you with things, but there's other things you need to know how to do. So I don't teach you these shortcuts yet until this point. Usually a little bit sooner than this, but. Okay. What was the other one I showed you in class how to do? The polynomial roots. Okay, so we have a few more minutes. Okay. Actually, I'm gonna try a different one than that one. Okay. So which one is a factor of this expression? So we're gonna go menu. We're gonna use my poly roots. Even though it's asking me for factor, this is what I wanted to show you that I didn't show you in class today. So algebra again, poly roots, okay, where we're at. Okay, so even though this isn't asking you to solve, you can still use this in a backwards way to figure out your factors. So this is a degree 2 because the highest power is 2. Real roots, that's what we want. Okay, the number in front of my x squared is what? 9. The number in front of my a1, or in front of my x, sorry, my a1 is? Negative 4. Okay. And then 1. Okay, I'm going to hit OK. Okay, it's going to give me, it gave me nothing. What happened? Never had that happen before. What did I pick? Nothing. Okay. If I don't get an answer and I get a blank space, what's my answer choice here? No real factors. So that's probably my answer there. Okay. If I go and do, okay, for the sake of time, if you've already done this, guys, and you don't want to go through that whole menu again, looky here. I can copy this and just change my numbers. I don't have to go back to the menu again. So I have another one here. I really wanted to show you something. That one was a good one, though, in case that happens to you. But come on, where you at? Okay. So for this one, I'm going to change it to 24 and negative 22 and plus 5. Okay, so these are my two solutions. Okay, however, my question is asking me for the factors. Remember how we did it in the asterisk, right? And we had my A over my C, and then we flip them to get my answers here. So if I flip them back over here and do 12 over 5, okay, and I have to change the sign, and we always change the sign. The bottom one's always the one that has a sign, right? And then 2 over 1, and it's also positive, so it's going to be negative. So those are my factors, 12x minus 5 and 2x minus 1. So there's my factors right there. But I had to backwards do it, put back in my asterisk so I could see, right? Yes. Okay. So I hope that helped. I'll be here after school if you have any more questions.